When a woman reaches the point where she truly has no one but God, something powerful begins to be born within her. That moment does not mark the end of the story. It marks the beginning of a silent, deep, and sacred transformation. What looks like abandonment is, in fact, preparation. What looks like loss is alignment, and often deliverance. This is a journey almost no one sees, and few are able to cross. It begins when life strips away everything that once felt safe. The support systems, the familiar voices, the shoulders that seemed permanent. Friendships fade, relationships break, the noise disappears, and then only one voice remains. Not loud, not imposed, but a whisper, the voice of God. What you are living is not an accident or punishment. It is training. This is not a motivational speech. It is a confirmation. Your isolation is not empty. Your silence is not wasted. Your loneliness is the soil where God plants eternal things. When the people who need to leave do leave, God enters. There are seasons in a woman's life when the Lord allows everything else to fade into the background, not to wound her, but to make room for His presence. When the phone stops ringing, when the nights grow long, when those she trusted disappear without explanation. That emptiness is not rejection, it is an invitation. Paul wrote that when no one stood with him, the Lord remained at his side. This is a deep revelation. When everyone steps away, God draws near. He is not intimidated by loneliness. He uses it. He allows the crowd to leave so she can finally discover the one who never left. This is not abandonment. It is alignment. Jesus was recognized in public, but prepared in secret. He was confirmed in the waters, but strengthened in the desert. The same happens to the woman God is shaping. Before visibility comes isolation. Before mission comes the desert. This is not punishment. It is a divine workshop. When the noise fades, she begins to hear God. A noisy life suffocates the gentle voice of the Father. So, in His mercy, God empties the room. Relationships end. Messages go unanswered. Connections change. Not to break her, but to break the noise, because a whisper can only be heard in silence. In that silence, spirituality changes. Prayer stops being obligation and becomes necessity. The Word stops being habit and becomes nourishment. She stops depending on human voices and learns to lean on the voice of heaven. And something deep happens there. Her identity is restored. She no longer defines herself as an extension of someone else, a secondary plan, or an emotional support for others. She discovers herself as a daughter, firmly grounded. God ceases to be the last resort and becomes the foundation of everything. Not a plan B, but the architect of destiny. Like Hagar in the desert, forgotten by men but seen by God, she learns to declare, "You are the God who sees me." When everyone else stops seeing, God sees even more closely. Then God removes the crutches, not to hurt her, but to teach her to walk steady. Many women were taught to depend on people for validation, comfort, and direction. But those who rely only on people never access the strength God placed within them. The removed crutches are not always people. Sometimes they are plans, routines, expectations, the need for control, the hunger for approval. When all of that falls, it feels like loss, but it is freedom. Because only when she loses what she thought was indispensable does she discover who is truly sufficient. Pain becomes a teacher, not an enemy. Pain is not always punishment. Often, it is purification. Hannah wept in silence, was misunderstood, humiliated, empty inside. But it was there that her prayer changed level. Her pain produced purpose. Her suffering became an altar. Some prayers are only born when the heart is broken. Some destinies are only accessed when nothing else sustains you. Pain is not the obstacle. It is the escort that leads you to the door of purpose. When external voices fall silent, God reveals who she is. Identity was always hidden behind the noise. Alone with God, she sees herself through His eyes. Not rejected, but chosen. Not broken, but being transformed. She recognizes within herself Esther's courage, Ruth's faithfulness, Deborah's boldness, Mary's surrender. Loneliness becomes a classroom. Isolation becomes a sanctuary. Silence becomes fertile ground. Her faith becomes unshakable. Not borrowed faith, not situational faith, but faith forged in the desert. A faith that says, even if everything fails, He will remain. This woman becomes dangerous to the enemy because she has already lost almost everything and decided to stay standing, never surrendering her worship. Loneliness is not delay, it is a delivery room. Purposes are generated in secret. Some blessings are too sacred for early exposure. God is not ignoring you. He is incubating you. You were not set aside. You were set apart. If this message reached you, it did not reach you by accident. God saw your tears, heard your silent questions, and chose to answer now. You are not late. You are being built. You are not falling apart. You are being transformed. When a woman has no one but God, she does not shrink. She grows stronger. She does not lose herself. She aligns. She does not fall apart. She steps into purpose, and when this season ends, she will not be the same woman who entered it. She will come out anointed, mature, aligned, and unshakable. If you want to share an experience from this season alone with God, the space in the comments is yours. Feel free. I hope to meet you on the great day. May God continue to bless you. With brotherly love, Minutes of Grace.